AARP Illinois virtual event. It's wonderful to have you with us. AARP is on a mission to connect with individuals across various communities, especially those aged 50 and above. We're here to listen, understand, and address the unique needs of you and your community as we age. Our goal is to enrich your experience by expanding our local activities, providing opportunities for you to discover and engage with all that life has to offer right here in your own community and virtually. As we journey through today's event, we invite you to consider joining our dedicated team of AARP volunteers. It's a chance to make a meaningful impact and help us better serve those 50 plus across the nation. Connect with us and be a part of this vibrant movement toward positive change. Welcome, and let's make this event both fun and transformative.
Welcome. My name is Ron Traub, and I'm a volunteer with AARP. Today, I'll be talking to you about how to make your home fit. One way to make a home more livable for people of all ages is to incorporate design principles and products that are adaptable, safe, and most importantly, easy to use. Such smartly designed features are both attractive, stylish, and come in all price points. This AARP Home Fit workshop will show you how that's possible. Before we begin, we have a few ground rules. First, I will basically be making the entire presentation, and because this is taped, as it were, we'll probably be taking questions at the end of the program to answer any questions or concerns that you might have. But bottom line, whether it's virtual or live, I want you to understand that it's a judgment-free zone, as it were. So any questions that you might have, please don't hesitate to ask them at the conclusion of the presentation. I would also tell you that AARP created this workshop because we are committed to helping you make your home comfortable, safe, and a great fit for older adults, but truly people of all ages. In this session, we're going to cover a fair amount of ground. We're going to learn about the advantages of making your home fit, the concept of universal design, basically how to create space that is usable for all people, the difference between areas of the home, the exterior, the doors, smart interior home fit features, entry spaces, kitchens, bathrooms, and living spaces as well. And then finally, home fit modifications that are what we've termed quick fixes, and others that are either harder or perhaps more expensive to undertake. Please take note that the items that have a green star next to them, it's a visual indicator that we use to indicate those that are quick fix. And so you may want to pay particular attention to those. I would also share with you this cover to the guide, to the Home Fit Guide, which is a complete overview of the information that I'm going to be discussing with you today, but also provides details of the concepts that are discussed here as well. At the end of the presentation is a list of home fit resources for your use, again, available on the internet for your review. Because this is recorded, you have the advantage of my live audiences, which is you can listen to this several times. So you don't need to write down items as I'm speaking about them. You can take them down at your leisure and then go back for further detail. But let's begin with the workshop itself. The workshop objectives, which is slide number 1. Participants in today's presentation, let's go on to the next one, please. Thank you. Workshop objectives. Participants in today's presentation will be able to recognize how a home can be modified to support changing needs and lifestyles at any age. 2, determine which modifications are important for maintaining the lifestyle that they desire. And 3, distinguish between modifications that are do-it-yourself and those that are best left to a professional. I would also note that in preparing for the presentation today, I've done a little research for you to come up with some average costs throughout actually the United States in installing some of these more expensive home fit items. So the AARP Home Fit Guide and presentation were created to basically, as I said earlier, help people live safely and comfortably in their homes by enabling the residents to be their current residents to be their lifelong home. So we're going to get started with that at this point. If I could have the next slide, please. So what is the first thing that comes to mind when you hear the word home? And again, you might be thinking to yourself, and you can take a note as to what that first thought is when you think of the word home. But the bottom line is that we all have different visions of what that home constitutes. But whatever it is for you, we're going to do our best to try and identify those items that can make the home that you're currently in the home for the long term. If I could have the next slide, please. So the costs of not staying in your home, and these costs were for Chicago in 2023. A private duty home health aide estimated cost was about $6,500. Adult daycare outside of the home, about $2,100 per month. Assisted living facility, about $6,500 per month. Nursing home with a semi-private room, about $8,600 per month. And then finally, nursing home with a private room, $11,800. So you can see by those significant costs, again, those are monthly costs, even for the more expensive improvements that I might be discussing with you. For the majority of these, it may just be a month or two what you might be paying for private assistance or living in another facility to be able to afford those types of items. If we could go on to the next slide, please. Universal design, accommodating all people of all abilities. Now that we have warmed up with a brief, and the word in my program is conversation, but really my remarks about our homes and why staying in them can certainly be worth the cost and the effort, let's talk about universal design. Universal design, at the outset, may sound like a technical term, but it refers to a very simple concept. Universal design is an approach to designing products and environments to accommodate all people, including those with physical, cognitive, or sensory impairments. It, along with livability and visibility, is the basis for the Home Fit Guide and my presentation today. Making modifications that are low maintenance and energy efficient can improve the livability of a home. Making modifications so that anyone who uses a wheelchair or other mobility devices can visit improves the visibility of the home. These include at least one, and this is where we're going to start talking about concepts. One, zero-step entrance, wider doors, or at least a half bath on the main floor. And I'll be discussing those in the next couple of minutes. Remember, homes that are universally designed can be used by all people for a lifetime, even if they have trouble with stairs, even if it's a toddler in a stroller, and even if it's an aunt with a walker. Everyone can live and visit safely and comfortably. If I could have the next slide, please. And let's take a look at the slide after that, please. Share with you the thoughts behind the exterior of the house. So when we talk about the exterior of the house, whether the residence is a house or an apartment, the exterior doorway should allow a smooth transition into and out of the particular property. Many homes have, for example, entrance steps, which can basically make the home inaccessible to a person who uses a wheelchair or someone who relies on crutches or has difficulty climbing stairs. The ideal is for all homes to have at least one zero-step entry doorway. If step-free access isn't possible for the front door, perhaps a side door or a back door or a door even located inside a garage can be made a substitute. Another solution might be a ramp. And in terms of the exterior, let's go on to the next slide, please. The exterior, the zero-step entrances that I mentioned a moment ago, require modifications or can require modifications to existing entrances, but it can take many forms. The bottom line is that the goal is to create a safe and practical entryway. So the best adjustment to an entryway is to create, as I said before, a zero-step entrance. Zero-step entrances are accessible to all people where raised entryways and steps may be a challenge to those with mobility limitations. What we're taking a look at then is how can they be created so as to allow for the safe entryway for individuals into the house. They can also be created using landscaping and adding slope pathways, as we have shown in the example here, to make it an attractive entryway. And in terms of the landscaping, perhaps you want to engage somebody with more sophisticated talents. Obviously, something you can do by yourself, perhaps in consultation with a friend who's a gardener, or going to another extreme by actually engaging a professional landscape architect to help you with the design of that zero-step entryway. Keep in mind that you have to determine whether or not it is practical to create or a zero-step entryway given the individual landscaping or size of the yard. Consult with a contractor or an occupational therapist to discuss your options. Let's go on to the next slide. The exterior steps and walker steps. Steps can be individual, such as a stoop, or a set of steps leading up to an entryway, such as we have in the example here. Walker steps are a unique modification of the design. Walker steps are modified to have deeper treads and shorter risers. When a zero-step entryway can't be achieved, there are ways to make the steps safer for all. Steps need to have good lighting, which we haven't talked about before, free of obstacles, and importantly, to have hand railing on both sides. So we've talked about the steps, but we haven't talked about the importance of having a railing on both sides, again, to facilitate safe passage for the homeowner as well as guests. Additionally, where space allows, steps can be adapted into walker steps, as I previously mentioned, which have deeper treads and shorter risers. Obviously, a contractor is going to have to be engaged to initiate an improvement such as that. But the bottom line is that if these walker steps are in fact implemented, individuals who use a walker or a cane are going to be able to safely and easily negotiate those steps. They're also a good alternative to using ramps, which we'll be discussing in the coming slide. If I could have the next slide, please. So exterior ramps, several types I've featured on the slide here. One, obviously a permanent ramp, a second, a temporary ramp, and then a third that you may not be as familiar with is a threshold ramps. So when a zero-step entryway can't be achieved, ramps can be a permanent or temporary fixture to a home. Permanent ramps can be added to entryways. or entrances by a contractor or other professional, while temporary ramps are a good solution for renters or visitors or those who don't have or don't wish to make a permanent improvement to their home. I would just note that while the cost involved here, and I don't have examples of costs, Sandy, but I was advised through one of the presentations that I had made that there are organizations that will provide temporary ramps, basically cost-free or at a reduced cost. Such organizations as Habitat for Humanity is one example. So you may want to contact them. Or perhaps your senior citizen organization is aware of organizations that would provide free or reduced cost such ramps. But let me go back to the presentation itself. So if you have a relatively short step up into your entryway to overcome, you can also consider a threshold ramp, which is shown in the third example here, which is inexpensive and really quite easy to install. The formula for ramping, and this is kind of like a story problem if you remember from school. So the formula for ramping is 1 foot of ramp is needed for every inch of elevation. So for example, 12 inches of elevation equal 12 feet of ramp. You can see that if you have a significant height to overcome, that the ramp itself can become quite a major project. So what we suggest and what experience has dictated is that switchbacks might be helpful in those particular cases and basically accommodate less space and would allow you to overcome that height obstacle that you might otherwise have. Because you might be looking at a 20-foot ramp in total. And again, by using a switchback, it reduces the overall visual impact, if you will. But there are many considerations when incorporating a ramp in your entrance, so it's best to consult with a professional for this. If I could go on to the next slide, please. Another option is a vertical platform lift, and some might call it an outdoor elevator. These are ideal for limited spaces, but clearly must be installed by a professional. If you have a small front yard or limited outdoor space, you may not think that there's a way to modify your home so that all people can access it. However, a vertical platform lift is yet another option for those that have those limitations. A vertical platform lift could also be utilized in a garage, even for a relatively short elevation, because it allows for better usage of the garage space rather than taking up the entire garage with a ramp, for example. And another advantage of having it in a garage is the protection it affords from inclement weather. A vertical platform lift has a call or send controls, a manual hand crank for lowering or raising the elevator or the lift in case of an electrical outage, and a removable stay dry platform, and also may very well have a cold weather platform. So clearly many of the obstacles that you might initially contemplate have already been addressed in the design of these vertical platform lifts. So what's the cost of something like this? Well, according to one web-based estimate that I took a look at, it indicated that prices could range anywhere between, this is a pretty wide range, $1,000 and $15,000, with, interestingly enough, $5,000 being a ballpark estimate. Again, certainly an expensive improvement, but if it means being able to stay in your home for a longer period of time, maybe it just represents 1 month or 2 months what you would have paid in a assisted living or nursing home facility. If I could go on to the next slide, please. Exterior lighting and address numbers. Outdoor lighting, entryway lighting may seem like a no-brainer per se, but a lot of people, if they do have entryway lighting, it's minimal and really doesn't provide the type of illumination that's necessary for individuals that might have some issues with entering a house. One relatively new innovation has been solar-powered pathway lighting, and these are available at many hardware stores and home improvement stores. And again, are relatively inexpensive and easy to install. And going back to my career when I was working, tips for displaying address numbers. I can't emphasize the importance enough of having a legible address on the front of your building. Despite the advances with GPS and other navigational aids, the fact that an address is large enough and visible can provide needed identification of a residence in the event of an emergency. So this is just a quick reminder to take note of the green stars on the side that you can follow. And again, they represent quick fixes, and you can see those displayed on these two items. Now that we have covered the various ways to modify the exterior access for safety, let's talk about lighting. And as I previously mentioned, outdoor lighting is a must for safety reasons. You'll want to make sure that at least one entryway light is at a height that doesn't require someone to be on a ladder to change the bulb to make maintenance doable by anybody. Something you may not think about, but again, if you're looking at a light bulb high up in a porch fixture, etc., difficult, particularly as you get older, to climb up the step ladder to change that bulb. You should also consider pathway lighting, which I had previously mentioned, leading to the front door that will allow visitors as well as delivery people a safe approach to the home after dark. And again, we've indicated that as a quick fix. If I could have the next slide, please. Entryway doors. The entryway doors, entering and exiting your home safely. And we've spoken about this on a couple of occasions, but I feel, and obviously the Home Fit Initiative feels that that's so important. So we're going to talk about some additional details in addition to the entryway ramp and the use of ramps and or lifts, just getting into the home. So that's what we're going to discuss next. And whether, as I mentioned, it should basically allow a smooth transition into and out of the property, because safety is of utmost importance. The last thing you want is to fall. You could even consider adding an attractive grab bar at each entrance, and you'd be surprised by how many people actually use it. If I could have the next slide, please. The entryway doors. Specifications for universally designed doors. Swing clear hinges is another option for providing more clearance in a doorway. And prior to getting involved in this presentation, I wasn't familiar with this modified hinge that's available. But what it basically does is to create additional space, if you will, for the door to open, because a doorway opening needs to be at least 32 inches to allow for a wheelchair to pass through, and the height should be 80 inches. Well, the use of the hinges obviously doesn't address the issue of height, but it does specifically address the issue of allowing a wheelchair to pass. So exploring these swing clear hinges could be an attractive option for you, particularly where someone with a wheelchair might need to gain access to that space. And where possible, door threshold height should be at least 3/4 of an inch, and that would basically allow for some additional, very modest space for navigation. And when the measurement is just an inch or so too small, those swing clear hinges can provide that needed space. So that's really, when you're looking at a at a retrofit situation, if you're looking at an existing doorway and it doesn't quite offer the opening width that you're looking for, these swing clear hinges could be the option that you're looking for. Okay, next slide, please. The entryway, doorbells and handles. Peepholes and doorbells are commonplace, but new technology has provided for both video doorbells with a so-called smart home option and also peepholes, so that you're basically able to see who's at your front door without physically opening the door. And that's obviously useful if you don't have a glass panel or there isn't a window nearby, or some type of peephole that might have previously existed in the door to let you see who's outside before you physically open the door. And a video doorbell can often be paired with a smartphone application, so that, again, if you're fairly savvy in using a smartphone and you get one of these video phones, it basically enables you to answer the door remotely. You don't need to come up to the door. You can, again, get on your smartphone, see who's at the door. If you recognize them, it'll take me a minute before I get there. Or if it's somebody you don't recognize, simply to communicate, leave the package at the door, so you're not putting yourself in harm's way by opening the door to a stranger. In terms of doorway handles, a lever-style door handle is easier to use than a doorknob or a thumb latch handle. And for those with mobility concerns or full hands, also a doorknob lock isn't the best choice for an exterior door. The lock, too, can be easily and sometimes unintentionally pressed or turned, resulting in somebody being accidentally locked out of their home. So again, this lever-style door handle can overcome a number of, I'll call them obstacles, that you might otherwise encounter. Another, if you will, high-tech solution for an entryway lock is something called a digital door lock. It eliminates the need for a doorway key and the fumbling that can sometimes come with key use. A battery-powered or hardwired digital door lock can be opened using a code or even a fingerprint. Some devices also work with a key, while others provide a way to lock and unlock the door via, again, a smartphone app or a remote control. Next slide, please. Entry spaces, creating a warm and safe welcome. Not every home has a large and formal foyer, but most homes have some sort of transition area just inside the entry door. That space should be free of clutter and should provide for storage of things carried or worn. Natural light and open space also prevents trips and falls and allows the occupants of the residence ease in moving about in that space. Next slide, please. Entry space organizational strategies. These just make sense. Useful furniture. Having useful furniture at the entry door that's specifically designated for, again, going into your house or leaving your house. Convenient storage options, and then finally, alternatives to a hall closet. Choosing the correct furniture for your space is an important part of modifying your entry space. You could consider equipping the space with a slim desk or a table, or even a wall-mounted shelving to store such things as car keys, wallets, shopping totes, and other commonly used items for an easy-to-access location. Also, consider adding storage containers to organize mail and coupons, and also devices such as phones, garage door openers, etc. This is something we consider a quick fix because you're able to undertake that relatively quickly. Adding a bench to this space provides a location to put on and remove shoes safely. Shoe and slipper storage, either under a bench or a location elsewhere, helps to prevent trips and falls and keeps a foyer free of dirt and puddles and keeps the space looking tidy. Finally, if there is no closet in the foyer of your home, consider adding wall hooks for coats, hats, and purses. Again, a quick fix. Let's take a look in the kitchen now, if I could have the next slide, please. The kitchen. Considerations for every diner, visitor, and cook. Regardless of how many rooms a home has, residents and guests tend to congregate in the kitchen, unless they're banished by the household chef. But even the most welcoming kitchen has hazards. They include fires, spills, slips, trips, and drops that can cause injury and damage to the home. Homes fitting interventions can make the kitchen safer and easier to use for every diner, visitor, and cook. Next slide, please. The kitchen, rethinking your current space. Sit at the table to prepare food instead of having to stand up, or perhaps installing or reconfiguring the counter at a lower level or lower height so that it's easier to work at. Since your desire and need to cook may change throughout your life, consider ways that you could change the ways that certain kitchen features work for you. For example, as I mentioned, standing at the counter to prepare food may have become too taxing. Instead, you might want to move a kitchen table or lower counter space to make it easier to work. Pull-out counter extensions and other off-the-shelf options are also available to integrate with your current countertops. Modifying your current space so that you don't have to redo the entire kitchen is a cost-effective way to extend the lifespan of your kitchen design. Start by making some simple modifications just for safety and ease of use, and then eventually, if you are considering a remodel, then there are many options for changing the layout and the design of your kitchen to extend its useful span. If you are going to update your kitchen, consider the universal design concepts that will allow for the greatest kitchen access at your age. Next slide, please. The kitchen, cabinets, shelving, and drawers. Adjustable lighting for ease of use, lower level cabinetry and pull-out shelves for better access, open shelving for visibility, drawers for maximizing space. There are many things to consider when making a kitchen accessible, and those range from quick fixes to harder remodels that require a professional's help. Some quicker fixes for the kitchen include reorienting, adjustable lighting, and adding stick-on under-counter cabinet lighting to shine more light on commonly used workspaces. Modifications that require the help of a professional would probably include cabinet changes, since they frequently use items that are best stored between the hip and the shoulder height. Adding lower level cabinets with pull-out shelves and extra shelving for storage items of different heights makes them easier for people to access. Other professional renovations could include open shelving, making items easier to see, reach, and replace after use, and then adding drawers of various heights and depths, maximizing space and storage of various items. If I could have the next slide, please. The kitchen, handles and hardware, the most accessible handle design. What would that be? And then faucet types that facilitate use and safety. Handles and hardware can be relatively easy to modify, but may require the help of a professional in some instances. First, consider the handles on your existing cabinets. D-shaped handles and drawer pulls, like the ones pictured, are easier to grasp than knobs. Lever style, light touch, or sensor faucets are both easier to use and more sanitary than the ones with turn-on style knobs and handles. Next slide, please. The kitchen appliances. When considering appliances, there are many options with helpful features to choose from. There are also a few features to be mindful of when considering safety and convenience. Although placing the microwave above the oven might be a space saver, it can be dangerous. Lifting and lowering heavy and often hot cookware is difficult and can result in spills and injuries. A countertop microwave, on the other hand, or one that's built in at the height that is safer and easier to access, reduces the possibility of those hazards. When thinking about stoves, considering those models that have the controls at the front of the unit to save users from having to reach over hot burners and pots. If your existing stove has the controls at the back of the unit, be vigilant about safety and watch out for loose clothing and exposed skin. Also, colored or backlit controls on the stove are easier to read. Controls that can be locked, covered, or removed are useful if children live in or simply visit the home. The top oven in a double oven range can be used to prepare small meals, and at that height is helpful in reducing the amount of bending and lifting. Drawer style appliances such as those that are in the picture, and that would include refrigerators, ranges, and double drawer dishwasher, are more expensive than single door swing open models. However, the ease of use and energy saving can be worth that additional cost. A French door refrigerator, for example, that opens in the middle makes it easier to see and reach what's inside. Next slide, please. The bathroom, creating a safe and convenient space. Another area of the house that merits additional considerations when thinking about making your home fit is the bathroom. Sometimes more attention is paid to a bathroom in decorating than it is to the safety of the space. Water on a bathroom floor is a slipping hazard and often an invisible one. Falling in a bathroom is painful and potentially life-threatening because of the many hard surfaces. The floor, the toilet, the countertop, the tub. All things considered, you may be surprised at just how nice a bathroom with modern safety and convenience features can look in your existing space. Next slide, please. The bathroom low-cost safety devices. Now, these can be used either in conjunction with existing bathroom improvements or instead of a commode chair as an alternative to a standard toilet. Shower options, you see the wall-mounted unit depicted there. A comfort height toilet and toilet base riser. The bottom line, you don't need to sit quite so far by having that dimension reduced to make it comfortable for you to use a toilet in comfort. And then finally, a transfer bench to get from outside the tub into the tub. So when considering making changes to your bathroom, remember to keep in mind the ease of use and safety. It's a good idea to go over each component of the bathroom as you decide which tips you will incorporate in your bathroom. In the shower area, there are many options available when someone has mobility limitations, and many of those options are temporary and very cost effective. First, a permanent shower, a shower bench, or a portable, a transfer chair or shower seat. Shower seating is relatively safe feature for all people, and it's also quite relaxing. Additionally, an adjustable height handheld shower head makes the shower customizable for users of different heights, but also abilities. Although a harder to do item requires the assistance of a professional, it is important to keep in mind that a wide doorless shower with zero-step entry is accessible for all, including wheelchair users and others with a disability or anyone who needs another person's assistance. Zero-step shower inserts are available from big box stores. Similarly, suitable options include full swing shower doors or the use of a shower curtain or partial wall to cover the opening. Next, let's talk about the toilet. A comfort height toilet is the best option for wheelchair users, but not necessarily for someone who is shorter in stature or for children. If there is a household with one person who could greatly benefit from the comfort height toilet and one person for whom the comfort height toilet would be detrimental, you could consider having one bathroom with a regular toilet and one with a comfort height toilet. If you need to add height to an existing toilet, consider a toilet base riser. A toilet base riser is a base for an existing toilet that adds about 3.5 inches to the height of an existing toilet. These usually cost less than $100. An example is pictured here. See the base of the toilet for the feature on this slide. Finally, a commode chair is the least expensive option for helping someone get on and off the toilet. They are often used by people for temporary situations or when remodeling is not an option. This device sits right on top of the toilet, raises the height of the toilet, and provides, most importantly, arm support without needing any structural changes at all. These are generally available for less than $50 as well. The bathroom, and if I could have the next slide, please, as we continue. Grab or assist bars. We've all experienced sliding on a wet and slippery floor, and that's why we want to ensure that the bathroom includes a grab or assist bar for someone to hold on to when they feel unstable. There are now many readily available. High-quality grab bars are integrated into common bathroom features such as toilet paper roll holders and soap dishes, such as the ones shown here. The correct installation of grab or assist bars is vitally important for safety. They should be installed into supportive blocking, which is best done by a professional. If they are not secured correctly, they can pull away from the wall when someone puts their full weight on them. Keep in mind that there are unsafe products sold as grab or assist bars that use a clamp or suction cup to secure them to the wall or tub. These should not be used. Research has indicated that grab or assist bars are safest when they are horizontal to the floor rather than vertical or at a diagonal. Let's go on to living spaces. Next slide, please. Finally, turning our attention to other areas of the home. Universal design for living spaces focuses on safety and livability, but also visibility. Having guests in our homes sometimes brings to light the quick fixes and the harder to-dos when we may need to ensure living space is usable for all of our guests. Think about a time you had a lot of family over in your home. Everyone is gathering in the living room. Depending on how your space is set up, there may be many things that you need to watch out for. Small children, they may knock into the edges of furniture, trip over electrical cords, or pull on drapes or window blinds. Family with mobility issues might have a wheelchair or walker that does not fit between the couch and the coffee table. Or they may not be able to get out of a low chair. Next slide, please. Living space safety considerations. Think of a situation we described on the previous slide, and then think of your own home. What would you need to change to ensure that the safety and the safety of all of your guests? A few common fixes are always anchor tall furnishings to the wall to prevent tipping. Secure exposed cords to the floor by using electrical cord approved adhesive or covering. Check the cord regularly to ensure that there is no fraying or breakages. This is a quick fix. Provide about 2 feet of clearance space between a coffee table or ottoman and the couch so that people have room to maneuver while sitting down or getting up. Avoid furniture with sharp corners and always secure window treatment cords to prevent entanglements. Secure area rugs to the floor with non-slip pads or double-sided tape. That's a quick fix. These changes are good for everyone, not just visitors, when made throughout the home. Next slide, please. Living spaces, lighting and electrical. Using natural light is always preferable, but in the evening, night lights and motion sensing lights can also be a lifesaver. Rocker style switches and ideal switch placement are also helpful in terms of being able to move in a darkened situation from room to room. Consider glow in the dark light switches, which will, again, glow in the dark and help you find your way to a light switch. And then finally, using wall sconces in the bedroom. Next, let's talk about lighting and electrical in the living spaces. Most of the changes, but not all, would need to be completed by a professional. One thing you can do, though, is to use natural lighting during the day by opening blinds and curtains to brighten the room. Another quick fix is using plug-in nightlight or unused outlets throughout the house. Battery-operated dusk to dawn or motion sensor nightlights in hallways or near steps and staircases are also simple safety solutions. Additionally, you may want to consider some improvements that may require professional assistance. These could include, well, the ideal height for switches is roughly 3 to 4 feet from the floor. Rocker style switches, which we included in the picture here, make turning lights on and off very easy. Again, you may need to engage a professional to switch out an existing switch to a rocker switch. Also consider switches near the doorway of living spaces that turn on a ceiling fixture so that the occupants don't need to enter a darkened room. Stairways and hallways need to have on-off switches at both ends of the hall and at the top and bottom of the stairs. Light switches that glow in the dark are especially helpful in those areas. And then finally, considering hanging wall sconces, a type of light fixture with an adjustable arm next to each side of the bed for reading in bed at night. Let's go into living spaces, dining areas. I have some furnishing recommendations for you, as well as some improvements that can be made to enhance safety and convenience. Dining rooms aren't always the traditional formal space they used to be. There was a time when most meals were served and eaten at a kitchen or dining room table. Now, both quick bites and full meals are often eaten on the go at a kitchen island or in front of a TV or a computer. As a result, many rooms are now dining rooms. If you have a traditional formal dining room in your home, remember that you can repurpose that room into a main level bedroom, craft area, reading nook, etc. Whenever you dine, consider comfort and utility. Dining table chairs with armrests provide support for getting into or up from the seat. When a kitchen island or countertop serves as a spot for eating, select seating that's sturdy and safe. Choose models that are appropriate height with seat backs, armchairs, and wide-spaced legs. When using the living room to dine, use lightweight serving trays to transport plates, drinks, and utilities instead of carrying each item by hand. Trays are also available to attach to a walker or a wheelchair. Next slide, please. Continuing our discussion about living spaces, we're going to focus now on hallways and stairways for a moment. And we're concerned with such items as clearances. We spoke about handrails and their importance in entering the house, but also in the house as well when dealing with steps. Carpeting, motion sensing nightlights, the tread on the stairs, the runners, and finally the riser covers. When placing furniture in a hallway, maintain at least 3 feet or 36 inches of passing space so that people using the corridor, or I should say can use the corridor, with not knocking into or being blocked by furniture. Stairways need to be well lit and have railing on both sides, which allows for someone to use his or her cane effectively, going both up and down. One easy quick fix idea is to install motion sensor nightlights. The safe surface and the covering for steps, or I should say the safest, is a tightly woven low pile carpet with thin padding. Use contrast to help differentiate each step from the tread of the next. Secure carpet runners with permanent tracking. Some of that is a little bit more detailed than you may care to undertake, but nevertheless, the bottom line is to improve the safety of the stairway. If the stairways, for example, are uncarpeted, always make sure that they have a non-slip surface, such as adhesive strips or securely placed rubber tread. Stairs with an open back should have a riser cover installed for safety. And as mentioned earlier, handrails should extend past the bottom step for safety. If I could have the next slide, please. Stair lifts, an alternative solution to two-story dwellings. Well, we talked about the lift earlier in its application for getting one from the exterior of the house to the inside. The interior example of that is a stair lift. And when a single-story living environment is needed but not possible, a stair chairlift can be a practical and safe mobility solution. But again, stair lifts should be installed by a professional. Stair lift chairs aren't inexpensive, but they can be better and more affordable choice than, as I've pointed out a couple of times before, than relocating. And you may be surprised to find out the options that are available to various types of staircases. The costs will increase if you require a custom chairlift or if your stairs are curved. Remember that chairlifts can be purchased used, which greatly reduces the cost. Again, in undertaking my own research, according to the home remodeling expert Bob Vila, the cost to install a chairlift can range between $2,000 to $20,000, with the national average being around $6,000. So again, not an inexpensive improvement, but again, considering the alternatives, can be a cost-effective alternative. If I could have the next slide, please. The laundry room. Adaptations and best practices. The best location for a laundry room or area is near the rooms where clothing is put and taken off. However, in most homes, especially older ones, that's not possible. If access is an issue, laundry facilities can be moved to the main floor, or a chairlift can be added or installed, or one can simply invest in a laundry service. Quick fixes for laundry space include investing in a laundry basket with wheels, as shown in the illustration, or using a foldable shopping cart. These items are ideally suited for an apartment or a condo building, or where laundry machines are located outside of the home. When purchasing a new washer or dryer, consider the style options and which door placement, top or front, would be easiest to use. Stack units save space, but the top unit can be difficult for some users to reach if bending to load or emptying a front loader washer or dryer is difficult. The units can be placed on a platform to raise them up a little bit. The models sold by appliance manufacturers often include storage drawers. Finally, there are washer-dryer combos available. This is a washer and dryer combination in a single washer-sized unit, containing a front-loading washer as well as a condenser dryer. Consult an appliance specialist about the best option for you. Next slide, please. What you may want to do is to take a look at the items if you took notes or go back to the presentation and just choose 2 quick fixes that you can tackle in the next 3 months just to get the ball rolling to help making your home fit. And then use the Home Fit Guide to help you choose as well as to help you plan future modifications. Now, if you remember at the beginning, I was mentioning that our goal today is to help you identify at least 1 quick fix that you can take away and to make your home a better fit for you. So think about it and make plans to undertake one of those improvements now. Next page, please. Finally, resources. In addition to the Home Fit Guide that you saw earlier, there we go, prepared by AARP. Again, a copy of that booklet is available from AARP. The AARP Foundation has a booklet entitled Here to Stay, Home Upkeep for All. Again, a step-by-step guide. In terms of professionals that could help you, they're occupational therapists, just because of the types of responsibilities they have in terms of working with somebody that's rehabbing from a broken bone or an injury, would be well suited to ask your questions with about making home safe improvements. And then there are even certified aging in place specialists, and the National Association of Home Builders, NAHB, can help you in identifying where one of those individuals would be located. Last slide, please. In conclusion, we've reviewed the advantage of staying in your home, the concept of universal design. We've basically gone through your home from the exterior to the interior, identifying home fit opportunities. And then finally, as I mentioned, the Home Fit Guide is available for free at aarp.org/homefit. So you can download it and again refer to the items that we reviewed here today. Remember that many of the modifications in this presentation have been labeled as quick fixes, which will allow you to begin planning your own modifications. And a complete list of these classifications can be found in the Home Fit Guide. And as I mentioned, it's either downloadable or available to be sent to you. Next slide, please. Great. Keeping in touch. We would love to have you join our team to speak as a volunteer in front of another audience, and resources for that are available either via the email, the phone number, or the web page. But we'd like to hear from you. We'd like your reaction to this presentation, or if the seed has been planted and you're now a home fit advocate and want to help spread the message,
contacting folks at AARP will help you spread the message. Last slide. Thank you for joining us today. We hope you've enjoyed the presentation. Bye-bye.